Hey there, folks. Over the past couple of weeks, I've been working to kind of revitalize some older projects that I've had over the past anywhere from like 2 to 6 years and just get them across the finish line because I have a really bad habit of starting projects and not finishing them, as I'm sure most of us do. Anyway, one of these projects is Spiderweb for the Atari 2600. So back in 2019, I was learning 6502 assembly, which, if you're not aware, the 6502 processor by MOS Technologies was kind of like the birthplace of microcomputers, you know, with the Apple I, the Commodore 64, even the Atari 2600, etc. It's using a bunch of stuff, and it's really fun to program for, actually, including the NES. I almost forgot. I highly recommend looking into it if you're a little computer savvy or programming savvy and want to explore some new technologies. Anyway, new old technologies. Anyway, so back in 2019, I was learning how to do all of that, and I started making a game for the Atari 2600, which is both very easy and very complicated at the same time for varying factors. And you can, I don't know, it's a process, but it's very fun, and I do recommend it. So that game I started working on is Spiderweb. Sorry, plane's passing over. So I had most of it figured out by 2020, and I kind of let it sit for a bit, and finally went back to it in 2022, and kind of finalized, worked out some of the final bugs, got it to where it is now, and released that version 1.0. But it was purely that, just digital, and really the goal from the beginning had been to make a physical release. So that's what I'm doing here now in 2024, 2 years later, is I'm making the actual physical copies I've been wanting to make since the beginning. So this is now available on my Tindie store, which I have linked below, as well as a few other items I've been working on. If you have any trouble ordering it from there, if you're interested, hopefully you are, just go ahead and shoot me a message through my website or something else like that. I'll have plenty of links below. So if you purchase it, what you get is the box itself. Now, I will say that this is all homemade, homebrew, so this is not even going to be the same quality that Atari made them back in the day, just because I don't have all the resources to everything, but I'm going to try my best here. So we have a beautiful box to pair with it. We also have a manual that comes in the box. I highly recommend flipping through this. There's a lot of stuff, you know, especially these Atari games, you know, there's not like a dictionary on them per se. They are limited to a degree. So the manual goes over most aspects of the game. I'll also throw in some stickers or whatever I find laying about. And of course, the cartridge itself. Now, the cartridge is 3D printed, the labels are homemade, there's freaking screws in the back, etc. But it's still fun. It's still nice to play with. Now, it also comes with an Atari, Pixels Pass PCB board that has beveled edges, and the ROM itself is 4 kilobytes in size. And you just plop that sucker into your Atari, turn it on, and you have your game, right? So we start with the title screen, and it has a little bit of fun music in the background. There's actually an Easter egg on this, which I won't tell you, even though it's pretty easy to find. And then from there, you can start the game by just plugging in your controller into port 1 and hitting the action button. Now, if you had a second controller, which it talks about this in the manual, but if you had a second controller plugged into player 2, you can actually do what's kind of it's both a tank mode or dual stick, whatever, and 2-player mode, because the left controller, you know, this is if you press start in the second player port, the left controller will control the movement, and the right controller will control where you're firing, the direction. Otherwise, if you're doing player 1, you just move, and the direction you're facing is where you fire to. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll kind of talk about how the game works, right? So you control, I believe her name is Lydia. She's a mouse here at the center, navigating your web. You have the level you're on the side. At the top here, you have the number of points in that level. It does reset level to level. It's a weird quirk of the game. As well as your health there is the bar. And of course, you don't want your health to go low. If it does, you die. Now, I believe there are 20 levels in the game. Now, they just increase in difficulty, and it changes some of the colors and stuff. Nothing crazy. I can't remember what happens on level 20, but I think there's a success screen. So, you know, take a screenshot of it if you ever get there. I'd be very, very impressed. Now, we have these two little bugs. They're kind of like gnats, flies, whatever, flying around your web, right? And your goal is to shoot at them. You'll notice it's kind of hard to see the ball but there is a little ball that shoots out of my player here. You want to shoot the gnat and see how it stopped. You did. Oh, it only lasts for like a second or two. It's called a stunning ability, but pretty much you pot. Oh my gosh, I have to go quickly. So I'm gonna stun it and then eat the gnat. So that does two things when you eat. Oh my gosh, I can't play it on camera. It both gives me points. It also restores my health a little bit because, you know, you're eating a gnat, right? So you want to be quick. Now you'll notice the swatter animates up. There's a little sound to indicate how quickly it's going and everything. And it'll do two things. A, it'll hurt you quite a bit. In fact, let's get hit by it. So yeah, it took my health down quite a bit there. And that even gets harder as you go further along. It'll take your health down. It'll also steal your gnats too, which can be annoying at times, but you know, kind of fun. And that's kind of like the human that's like trying to get the gnats and also messing with the web, because you know it's tough being a spider, right? Now, this is one of those games that is simple but hard to master. I personally have only gotten to about level 13 or so. It's definitely possible to go further. You just have to be really lucky. And on top of that, you can change what level... Oh, see, I got to level 2 here, and now the background color changed a little bit to indicate where I'm at. You can actually change your starting level using the difficulty little sliders on the console itself. That's cool if you want to practice, or if you just want to play the hard levels. Now, I'm okay playing it here on, you know, our little Atari joystick here, but I do also recommend using a Genesis controller, or any other controller too, just because they're a little more tactile, easier to maneuver. It's sweet. Level 4. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and die here. Let them kill me. Of course, the gnats, if they hit you, they do hurt you as well, so you have to be careful there. And we get a game over screen. Another thing, the gnat movement is all randomly generated. It's what causes that kind of erratic movement. Actually, I'm really impressed with like how it moves around. It seems relatively realistic for a gnat, right? And that's about the gist of the game. Of course, you can keep playing and get there to the end. If you have any questions, please let me know. Now, this is open source, so all the assembly code is on the website or GitHub, and it's all commented pretty well. So if you want to do your own Atari game and you want to look for somewhere to start, this might be a good place to start and learn how that works. And in fact, I've even packaged in a few Python-based scripts to help generate like the graphics and stuff off of like images you would make in your image editor, stuff like that. So there's a lot to learn from. I would like to make more games in the future, but I might move on to other platforms as well using this knowledge, like the Commodore 2600. The Commodore 64 is something I've been wanting to play around with, and I have to a degree, but I have never made a game for it. So I'd be really interested to see where that takes this whole concept. Anyway, y'all have a great day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of it.